There's good people out there. Very good people. Again. Holy cow.
The hardest part of our job here at Revitalize CDC is choosing which families we're able to help and which ones we're not. There's so much need out there. Well, Join Forces is our initiative to focus on military veterans and their families and their homes in need of repair and modification. Mr. Charles Sullivan, we chose him this year. He had applied last year. He served in the U.S. Army in Vietnam. We're really happy to be able to serve him in return.
I didn't go to high school. I went to trade school, and once I got out of there, went on a job for Sterling Press out in Westfield, and 3 months on the job is when I got drafted. I went through the basic training. Somehow, some way, I got into the truck driving school, or whatever you want to call it. Then from there, I went straight to Vietnam. A lot of water. That's all I looked out the plane. I just saw a lot of water. That's all I can remember. Water. I hope this don't crash. But then you get there and landed in Cameron Bay, I believe it was. I went to Pleiku, I believe, was the first place I went to. Some kids they couldn't handle it, and other kids could, and I was just one of the ones I was just okay with it. Just I wanted to serve my country. That was basically it. Proud to serve. I really am. I'm glad I got drafted too. I'm not sorry for one moment. If I'd do it again, I would.
Mr. Sullivan purchased the home brand new in 1977. Him and his wife Donna raised 2 children, a son and a daughter there. They were married in 1972.
I met her when I was maybe 12, and she was in the 5th grade. And the thing is, from then on, we just clicked. Married her when I was 24 because I wanted the service out of the way. And then we stayed together the rest of our lives.
So last year in 2015, we announced our expansion into the city of Holyoke, Massachusetts. And the first family that was chosen in Holyoke was the Leary family. Scott Leary had served in the U.S. Air Force during Desert Storm and Desert Shield. So we were so happy to be able to rehab that home. We replaced 36 windows in the house, all new energy efficient ones that helped them save their money on their heating costs, a new roof that was leaking over a portion of the garage. We gutted the kitchen and put in all new kitchen cabinets with water saving fixtures and sinks. And when you drive down that street, you see all the bright new windows shining really half the house. The entire house is painted Air Force blue. That was what the family had chosen, with the American flag out in the front steps. They've done some nice landscaping in the front of the yard, and it's really wonderful to be able to see that house completed thanks to the volunteers and the donors that we have throughout the community.
A year after I got married, in 1973, my son was born. So that was a quick start. And 5.5 years later, I had my daughter. And that's it. When she got sick, that was when, that was it. And I retired. You have to be cautious on what you do and what comes first. Like, no way I'm going to be able to replace that window or take care of that floor. For me to even try to do any of these things, it's almost like impossible. All of a sudden, my wife just says, I can't breathe. So what do you mean you can't breathe? So we went to the ER instead of to the doctors, and we got in there. One thing led to another. When they took the x-rays, on one side of her lungs, she had emphysema totally on one side. The other side was cancerous, all black. So they stuck these tubes down her so that she could breathe. And then she said he wanted to take further tests, and they did. And they found out that she had 3 tumors in her brain. They were all malignant. So I said, oh boy. And the doctor told her there was no reversal. That was it. And she lasted 12 days. I stayed there the whole 12 days. It's like missing everything. Very hard.
You know, Mr. Sullivan's application stood out especially because of his wife passing away. And he was, very sad. And Mr. Sullivan was caring for her for so long that he hasn't been able to do some maintenance and work on the house. Didn't ask for anything, virtually anything. He invested just very, very little. After his service in Vietnam, we want to be able to help him. We want to be able to lift him up. So we're going to be working on his home to make it safe, healthy, and energy efficient. We're going to rip up the laminate flooring that's unsafe. It's curled up in areas so that it could be a fall hazard. So we're going to rip that up, put a new subfloor on there, install the tile that they had selected together. The front picture window in the living room is cracked and air is coming in, making it cold in the winter. His utility bills are higher as a result of that.
Colleen calls me and says we're going to have a talk. And these guys come in, they help me out. I said, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. And they're going to do this, they're going to do that. All volunteers. It's very nice of them.
You open up the back door off the kitchen and there are not any steps. So we're putting in steps and a very small deck for him to enjoy his backyard. We're going to paint his shed he built in the backyard and add some shutters, maybe some flower boxes. And we're going to really spruce up the whole entire yard. We want to cheer him up. He's gone through so much sadness recently that we'd be happy to plant some shrubs and flowers and put some mulch down, and we're going to surprise him at the end of the day by installing a flagpole and have an honor guard present him and raise the flag and honor him and his family. We started our GreenNFit initiative in the city of Springfield in 2013. GreenNFit stands for Energy Efficiency, Safe and Healthy Homes, and we believe everyone should have an energy efficient, safe and healthy home. First street was Tyler Street. We worked on 26 homes that year on that one particular block. We created a community garden on that block on a vacant lot. We also worked on a city playground which backed up to Tyler Street onto Pendleton Avenue and cleaned that up, spruced that up. Worked in collaboration with the Old Hill Neighborhood Council. We brought together over 70 sponsors, donors, not to mention the volunteer groups. On top of that, we had over 1,000 volunteers, and these same volunteers come back each and every year. What we're working on is 10 contiguous blocks in the Old Hill neighborhood, doing everything from new roofs to mold remediation and lead abatement and new windows and water-saving fixtures and converting homes from oil to natural gas heating systems and gutters and painting and landscaping and fencing and everything in between, anything you could possibly imagine.
It's a day of working together. It's a day of seeing how we can be a community of love and togetherness, all in one, and all on one or two streets.
This is just a small little microcosm of what Revitalize does year long. That's awesome.
When you go back to the homes that we had started on, they still look beautiful. I love to see their faces because I ride by and I'm like, we know who did that house, and they like, yeah, I love it, and it's a great feeling.
With the fact that their house is being worked on and somebody else's house is being worked on and it all happens in one day, they can sit back and then say to themselves, hey, you know what, this is part of our neighborhood, this is our neighborhood, and we can keep this work going.
We're taking on 2 blocks of Beach Street in Holyoke the week after our Joint Forces breakfast. 4 of the projects we're working on that day are owned by veterans, and another 8 homes are owned by either elderly or those in need that have lived in the city of Holyoke for many, 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 many years. We're going to be working on about a dozen homes altogether, all in one day, so which is the first time it's ever been done in Holyoke. And again, we've got the support of everybody in the community, and we're so grateful to these people and these organizations to be able to make a difference and help their neighbors.
Thank you very much. Very much. And I made it a point that I already get my bottles, cash them in, and get everybody else's, so I can get some lemonade for them and all that while these workers are outside. Give them something to drink, water, Gatorade, or whatever they need. And maybe buy a pizza if I can afford it for the workers. The thing with me is I was always proud, never to take. I don't like to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. And yes, it is necessary, and I'm finding out that it doesn't hurt to take help when needed. Financially, I'm strapped. And they help me out 100%. It's going to be it's a nice feeling already. They're not even done, it's a nice feeling. There are good people out there. Organizations that can help others. And that's what our country needs. Very much so. I really appreciate this help.